Kate, I don't know how I'm going to go after Emmy. That's a really hard one to follow. Good afternoon. Assalamu alaikum. My name is Samah Salman. And today, Sudan has been at war with itself for 365 days. 365 days of hunger, disease, and death. Sudan is a country of enormous potential, but it's in a horrific crisis. In describing the Sudan war, UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres has said, "The scale and speed of Sudan's descent into death and destruction is unprecedented." In this 1 year of war, Sudan has been breaking all the wrong records and climbing to the top of all the wrong lists. Despite that, it's the world's largest invisible crisis. Number one, Sudan is the largest displacement crisis in the world. 8.3 million Sudanese are displaced inside and outside of Sudan. This is truly unbelievable and heartbreaking because just 1 year ago, Sudan was one of the largest and most generous host countries in the world to refugees from many different countries. Sudan is the world's worst humanitarian crisis. More than 30 humanitarian workers have been killed so far in the violence. The UN humanitarian chief, Martin Griffiths, has said, Sudan is currently the most challenging spot in the world for humanitarian workers. Aid obstruction by both the SAF and the RSF has gotten so bad that only 10% of aid is getting into Sudanese. A humanitarian worker with MSF, which you may know as Médecins Sans Frontières or Doctors Without Borders, has said, "We are no longer afraid of the horrors we can see. We are now more afraid of the horrors that we can't see." Sudan is the world's worst protection crisis. Between 7 million and 9 million women are at risk of rape, sexual violence, and sexual abuse. Sudan today is on the brink of a famine. 20 million Sudanese are currently at risk of famine, and about 8 million Sudanese face acute starvation. By next month, we may see 250,000 women and children die out of hunger. And that's right around the corner if we don't get help to them. We may be seeing a lost generation in Sudan. 19 million Sudanese children are out of school. 14 million Sudanese children are at risk of severe malnutrition, disease, or death. Every 2 hours, one child dies of malnutrition and starvation in Darfur alone. Sudan is an economic crisis. It has the world's highest inflation rate at 300%. And as you've already heard from some of my colleagues, it's a huge healthcare crisis. 80% of hospitals in Sudan are currently out of service. The UN has called for $4.1 billion today to help Sudan now, to help a Sudan that's facing famine, that's facing disease, and to face children who are facing death. Only 6% of that humanitarian plea has been funded. Only 6%. The Sudan crisis has been invisible for long enough. The international community and the White House must act, and they must act now. Thank you.